Hello there, beautiful souls and beautiful humans. Welcome to this presentation, which is an introduction to the StarPeace Mastership Program. Now, this is a process for powerhouse creators who are ready to co-create their reality, to co-create a collective reality that I call Paradise Earth. You may have heard of as the New Earth, but we are here with a soul mission to hold the frequency of the new world. And here's the interesting thing. Part of our mission is actually to fulfill ourselves, all of our wants, all of our needs, the things that we long for. And although this is a mastership, it is akin to doing what would be a master's degree. It is for those of you who are already well versed, and I would say 4 to 5 years. Okay, so this is not for new initiates of a spiritual awakening. You're all star seeds. And I particularly work with those these days of tremendous power and influence, those who intend to have tremendous power and influence or do already. And my work is to work with the few who work with the many. So I'm here as a code keeper. I am a channel of grace, divine grace, and StarPeace, the StarPeace Collective, which are basically the intergalactic super federation. I was given the mission back on the 31st of October 2020 to seed StarPeace in the collective consciousness of humanity, when I was given the message that the war is over in our universe. Star Wars is over. I was told it is time for StarPeace. And there's been an intergalactic agreement that this universe is now ready to be unified consciousness rather than to be in a state of duality. So all the extraterrestrial races, and this might sound a little bit out there, but all those, the Star Wars game is over, and all those that want to continue to learn through conflict, through duality, are doing it off universe, out of this universe. They've gone through a black hole elsewhere to create that reality elsewhere, or to experience that reality elsewhere. So why is this relevant to us and to this course? Well, everyone here is a star seed, as I said, and I've made another video about what it means to be a star seed that you can check out to see how you resonate. But essentially, what is happening is, for us to have the experience of peace here on this planet, we need to download the StarPeace codes, embody them into our physical reality, into our cellular memory, into our quantum field, and therefore to have the experience internally that will allow us to have this experience externally. Now, my journey started very early in my life when I was 4 years old and looked around going, what's happening here? This doesn't make sense. What have I done here? Why have I come here? These adults don't seem to know what they're doing. And I was blessed that my mum had the foresight when I was 14 years old, very unhappy, didn't want to exist anymore, didn't like my body, didn't like this planet, didn't like being alive. And I know many will identify with that. And basically she paid for me to have a series of rebirthing sessions. So I learned very early in my life about the impact of our pre-birth influences and our birth, and the earliest imprints that we have once we're born. That started my journey as a fertility, pregnancy, birth, postnatal and early life specialist. I call myself an ancestral and pre-birth influences decoder and reprogrammer. Now, that's all in the background of what I do today, okay? And it's really important for you, as you open yourselves up to this, to know that every one of us is impacted by our time in the womb and our birth and this early life period. And star seeds are higher frequency beings. We are beings that have already evolved beyond the duality and the conflict that exists on this planet, and particularly in the families, the bloodlines that we have incarnated into. We come here on a volunteer mission. And this volunteer mission is to support the ascension of humanity by choosing to incarnate into families who are going through what we've already evolved beyond, so that we test ourselves. This is an offer of service, a volunteer service, and we clear the bloodlines by our very presence. So we are able to affect the past, the present, and the future in doing so. However, the leveler is that we forget we're masters when we are born. We go through the cloak of amnesia like every other human does. So we forget what we know as a soul whilst we incarnate in a physical body. We typically go through tremendous challenges in early life, maybe difficult pregnancies, births. Certainly early life conditions are less than ideal. We end up with unmet needs like much of humanity. And the difference between us and many others is that we seek out healing, we seek out knowing why, we seek out basically overcoming the challenges that we've been through. And in so doing, we all teach what we most need to learn, and then we live by example and we impact others. So this course, basically, the first iteration of it came out, I published it in 2015. And many of the case studies I'm going to give you are from this first version of the course. And that's why I want to wow you a little bit, because this current version that I have been co-creating in the last 6 months with my membership and with those who join me for this part of the journey is fearless, loved up, and free to be me on cosmic steroids. It's now called Fearless, Loved Up, and Limitless. And it is for the soul CEOs, the entrepreneurs, the influencers, the way showers, the visionaries, the luminaries, the architects and the builders of the new earth that would like to get the support to have stratospheric impact in this world through getting really on point with their particular soul purpose, the piece of the puzzle that they're here to actually be and to connect with others. And part of this is actually to go back to the foundations, which most of us don't do. Okay, we're all very good at paying for courses, going on trainings that we know are going to be beneficial to those we work with, to maybe our clients, to our employees, to our students. And we often overlook the most important thing, that is that we need to be resonating at the highest frequency in order for us to be able to have the impact we want in this world and to truly come from our higher selves rather than our wounding. So part of my birth story is I was born bum first with the cord around my neck 3 times. So I do everything a bit arse about face. And so this is a perfect example of that, is to get to a level of mastery and then need to go right back to actually do some of the deprogramming, reprogramming, and to set this new frequency. So those of you who know about soul chakras and earth chakras, this is the alpha and the omega, and that's how we work. We keep bouncing between the two. So I'm going to take you through the elements of this course and just explain a little bit more about who it's for, whether this is right for you, and to share some of the examples of my success stories in terms of my clients, because what gives me the greatest joy, other than my wonderful husband and my personal life, is actually seeing my clients grow and thrive and go on their own trajectory and influence others, because that's the whole point. Is every one of us can end up feeling like we're too small to fulfill our big idea, our big dream. And to quote the Dalai Lama, if you do consider yourself being small and insignificant, consider the impact of a mosquito in a bedroom at night, and you know that we can be very, very powerful when we claim that power fully and learn how to use it. And this is another thing that's so important. Manifesting is one thing. Law of attraction is another thing. Co-creating reality consciously is the name of the game here. To co-create Paradise Earth, to co-create the new Earth paradigm, we are vibration holders, okay? This is not about my will no matter what. This is about having an intention, having a desire, and then surrendering it to the highest good. So those of us who are here on this Mastership program, we're here as the way showers and the leaders of the new Earth. I'm going to test ourselves a million times to make sure that we're not going to abuse our power once we have it, before we actually receive it. So part of my role is basically teaching people how to use the magic wand that is already in their hands. And I'm going to just get a little bit more into this for you so you can actually learn more. So, as I said, I guide awakening soul humans in positions of influence and power to unleash their stratospheric impact in this world. Now, maybe you're at the beginning of this journey, maybe you're not. I'm talking today about the group program, but I do offer a one-to-one service for those who want that service, and that is available on the Rosanna Hannis website. You'll find the information here on the RozyGlow website. And just to give you a little bit more background on what this actually means, I guide and I activate awakening leaders and CEOs and visionaries who I do call star seeds. And as I said, there's lots of information on that, ready to detox and reprogram their pre-birth and early life conditioning. And this is so that we can create a more stratospheric impact in the new world structures that we are here to do. So I have a website called StarPeaceConsciousness.com, and this is the movement that was seeded in me from the 31st of October. And in it, I describe that as a humanity, we have the opportunity to be energizers, builders, and architects of the new world paradigm. This is not the new world order. This is what I call Paradise Earth, but you may call it New Earth. And essentially, it is the frequency of this planet pre the fall, so pre the trauma, pre the enslavement grid, pre the times when the free will of this planet was usurped. And this is a bit of an extraterrestrial story. I'm not going to go into it today, but those who are starseeds get a little bit fascinated with this kind of thing, and it is part of what we explore as part of the course. But essentially, this planet has chosen to reclaim, if you like, being sovereign, being autonomous, and being liberated. This planet was always meant to be a planet of choice. It's a planet that we incarnate into physical, dense reality to learn to manifest in a physical realm. In the non-physical realm, it's super easy to create something with your mind and then to see it manifest. But in the physical realm, there's a time lag. And it's that time lag that often throws us, because we think something isn't working. And so we come off our energetic trajectory of vibration holding. And so we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We keep undoing, neutralizing the good work that we've been doing. So that's why I've been blessed to download through my guides a 6-step process, which is what I take people through on this program. And it is simple, profound, and at the same time, even though it's simple, it doesn't mean it's easy, because the trappings of the brain and the mind can get us going round in circles thinking that we're progressing. And so everything that I've learned in the time since I first created this course, and now it's rehashed. So it's like, I called it Fearless 2.0, but actually it is, as I said, a whole octave up in terms of the impact that is possible as a result of going through it. And it is a year-long program now to allow people to have the big breakthroughs and also to stabilize in their new frequency just enough. Like, consider the journey of a baby. Consider being conceived, spending 9 months in the womb, and then 3 months after. This is basically what we're talking about all of that journey. So we go through the whole thing. We move out of being newborns in this new frequency. Now, this idea of this new earth paradigm is basically, I call it, as I said, paradise earth, because it is whatever your vision is of a utopia. All right. I have this Manifesting StarPeace Utopia Facebook group. I have a YouTube channel with the same name, and utopia with an E in the front is about a conceivable reality, an idea that you believe is possible, even if it seems incredibly far-fetched. You know, what is your idea of a peaceful planet? Yeah. What is your idea of how this world could work if it evolved beyond war, as it evolves beyond war, as we learn to use conflict as a way of getting closer to each other rather than creating division, as we move from duality into oneness and we accept that everything's coexisting at the same time, and we choose to focus on what we want to energize. And that is, you know, a bringing together of quantum physics and also epigenetics for us to understand ourselves as masters of our reality, and also to understand that effectively reality is perception. Okay. And it's subjective. We're all walking around having our own experience based on the conditioning we inherited, based on our current worldview, and based on what we're told by those around us. And without going too much into the details, because this is what we unpack on the course, you know, we're born programmed. Okay, we're born with a preset sat nav. And either we follow the route, or we completely rebel and we go the opposite route, right, to what we're told. But neither of those are our true, authentic choice. They're both reactions. One is to follow the conditioning, the other is to reject the conditioning. But our authority, our sovereignty, comes from the midline, comes from integrating the extremes, learning not to metaphorically throw the baby out with the bathwater, to take the best and leave the rest from our ancestral conditioning, and to remember that we did actually choose the conditions we came into, and therefore life is happening for us, not to us. Now, all of us have an inbuilt victim story, a victim wound. It's just the way that the world is currently created. Well, it's not created, it's the way the world currently is presented, because we're living in lack consciousness. We're living in the fear paradigm. We're living addicted to adrenaline and fear rather than love and oxytocin. And very recently, I actually co-created a 3-day challenge called Heart-Led Soul-Inspired Leadership. It's a 3-day challenge all about this adrenaline oxytocin axis, and I highly recommend you check that out. I'll put a link to the landing page once we've got it, and you can then check out the 3 days of the amazing content that was created there, because it will give you more of an understanding of what we're actually doing. But those of us who are here with the remit of being an energizer, a builder, or an architect of the New Earth paradigm are here to dream a new vision into reality and to hold the vibration of that new vision until it happens. And if you want to know my vision, it's on the StarPeace Consciousness website. There is a manifesto there. That is my idea of what a collective utopia would look like, what paradise earth would look like to me. It's what makes me excited. It makes me buzz. It raises my energy. And my mission is to bring 800 million people together to sign that manifesto. Now that might seem impossible to some of you. Okay, that's cool. It's 10% of the population. The tipping point, the book The Tipping Point talks about the fact that when 10% of the population adopts something, it can spread like wildfire. So I'm here in this physical skin suit to experience putting my energy behind growing this idea into a reality. And you know what? I'm going to have as much fun as I possibly can, opening myself up to this becoming a true reality for me. And this is the point, is to have a desire, but not be attached to the outcome, because it's what happens along the way that is so exciting. And that's what we're going to be working with. So, what else could I say before I go into the course content? You, who are you? Well, you will have had a spiritual awakening at some point. You have a strong sense that this world is not as it seems, that what we've been told is true isn't true. There will be a real quest in you, a seeking, a searching for truth. And I will say that those who do best in my work, are those who have some form of faith. So I often work with those who have been born into a religion, but are happy to challenge it. Very recently, one of my graduates was born into a cult, and she had left the cult just before she actually came to work with me, a little before. She was, even the mother of a child that, is the result of having been in an arranged marriage. And for her to even consider dating, never mind having sex with another person outside of wedlock, outside of the church, outside of the conditioning, was huge blasphemy, right? So it's amazing that she has actually been able to break the mold. There were lots of reasons that brought her to it, but she had grief to deal with as she came to me. She also had a lot of reprogramming to do in order to feel that God loved her and wasn't going to punish her. They call God the divine. And that actually it was safe for her to explore beyond her conditioning. She was, I think, 3rd generation in this cult, so it was really deeply steeped. But she's come in as a starseed to clear those 2 bloodlines, right, and to prevent the limitations continuing in the future. Not only that, she's a beautiful midwife. She works supporting women to give birth, to nurture their babies, to set themselves up for best birth outcomes. And she's working in the realm of healing family constellations. So, this is really amazing work. And although my work isn't just for women, I get a lot of women coming through. It is for starseeds. Okay, so the men who've come through as well have needed to really connect to their divine feminine, to heal the mother wound, the father wound, and to learn how to be impactful, to be their divine masculine without needing to come from their wounding. And this is a huge part of this work, is we're all creating all of the time. Okay, we're either creating from our lower self or our higher self. My latest mission is to work with the entertainment industry primarily. In my one-to-one work, it is working with executive producers, working with the script writers, working with the creators of new entertainment, because it's through the entertainment industry that we can affect the masses. Whatever you watch, whatever you listen to, whatever you read ends up going into your subconscious. Okay, it affects your subconscious. We get subliminally programmed. So if we start seeing the kind of modeling that is going to support us to adopt a new world paradigm as our intended reality, then that's what will happen. And that's why I'm so passionate about the realm of imagination. And it is key to all co-creating work. So what more could I say about you? You will have either had, when you come to work with me, you will have either had a big spiritual awakening already, or you will have spent about 10 to 20 years working with your spiritual evolution. Okay, so what that actually means is that you're not at the start of a journey. If you have just had a big spiritual awakening, which may well have happened over the last 3 years, all these superpowers have come online. You're more sensitive, more psychic, more intuitive. You're noticing that, somehow you've ended up with these superpowers and you don't know how to use them. And also, there's that real sense of seeing through the illusion, the fabric of illusion, as we're moving through this apocalyptic time, which is the great reveal. Now, those of you who are in that bank, if you like, will feel me, you'll know me, you'll be like, I have to get this training, I have to work with this woman to understand how to navigate uncharted territory. And those of you who have been on a self-development, a spiritual awakening course for the last 10 to 20 years will feel like you've tried everything, right? And, you know, you'll have had limiting results or limited results with the things you do. And to quote a client I was speaking to this morning, who's just graduating from the program, you know, the game changer is actually going back to your roots. You realize through being through this program, or you will realize that it's going into, you know, this earliest time. And it's not inner child work. Inner child work is a part of it. Shadow work is a part of it. But we have an inner teen, an inner infant, an inner child, an inner feminine, an inner masculine, an inner mother, an inner father. This is your inner family. And this whole family needs resolution to move from the solar plexus to the heart. And in so doing, we can then create from our higher self consciousness. We can download the gifts we're here to share in this world and actually offer from our higher self rather than our wounding. So, you know, one thing I would say is many of you will identify as neurodivergent. You may or may not have a diagnosis. Often you will feel that the gifts you have are actually limiters, impediments in some way. You're often beating yourself up, never quite feeling like you're good enough. And yet on the outside, it will look like you've got it, you know, all sussed, right? So often we're quite charismatic. Those of us who've had some really strong, you know, fear programming, stress programming, worry programming, guilt, blame, shame programming, and we tend to overcompensate. So you may well be really wealthy. You may well already be significantly influential. You may have, you know, a following. You may find that, you know, you're really well regarded by your peers, by those who look up to you, those that you are leading and guiding in some way. And that's great, but you have to feel it inside as well. And what I see very often is those who are succeeding well in their profession, in their career, have a lot of unmet wants and needs in their personal life. Maybe they're longing for a partner. Maybe they're longing for a child and have not been able to conceive. Maybe even though there's plenty of money there, there's this constant fear of not having enough and lack. And there's a sort of general desire to save the world, to fight for change, to campaign for change, to, you know, help make this world a better place, to support the ascension of humanity and also the planet. But the point is, we're coming from our wounding rather than from our resolved self. So, you know, you may well affect change, and you may well change a policy, for example, or write a book that many people read, but to actually have the kind of impact you want, that's a resonance inside of you. That's a vibrational shift that needs to happen when all aspects are aligned. And part of that is you actually having a fulfilling personal life, enjoying your life. Now, I had a yoga business called Enjoy Yoga. The irony was that I was exhausted, and the last thing I felt was joy most of the time. Others were receiving a lot from what I was giving to them, but it was not a sustainable situation. If I'd carried on down that path, even though outwardly it looked successful, I was left with so little. I was on government support, right? I was running a community interest company. It looked like things were doing great. You know, I had thriving classes in 3 or 4 different venues in Croydon. I was the name everyone came to for fertility, pregnancy, birth. Everyone knew who I was, right? And there was a time that, you know, it was really serving a community. And in that time, in my work there, I was working very closely with the Croydon University Hospital. I was a user rep on their maternity services liaison committee, later their co-chair and then their chair. And in the 10 years I worked with them, this maternity unit went from one of the worst performing to one of the best performing in the country. Okay, so that's the impact I had working from my wounding. Can you imagine the impact that's coming now as I'm coming from a completely different place? So just to sort of give you a little timeline, that was Enjoy Yoga. That was 2004 to 2018. From 2014, I had RozyGlow born. So my work as a coach started, and as a reverse engineer of reality and reality crafting. And from 2018, everything started to really go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And all the deep desires that I had for myself in my career, in my personal life, all started to land. I met my beautiful Sacred Union divine counterpart, ascension partner, the wonderful Ian Buzz Hannis, who is a dream come true as far as husbands go, better than I could imagine, everything I could possibly want and then some. You know, I had the kind of financial rewards, if you like, that took me from that elusive 10K month to the 10K week to the 20K day even. And it was like, I knew I had to get to the place where I would feel comfortable and confident with flow, no matter how much I had. That deep trust in the universe that I'll always be provided for. And back in the middle of this fear pandemic, I get dum, 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 basically the StarPeace mission landing in me, because my personal life was now fulfilled. I was safe, I was secure, I felt loved, I was married, I had everything that I could possibly want. And here we are. It's like, okay, now is your new mission. Take it on. This is what you're going to do. And I had to really grow, like hugely stripped. This was my stratospheric impact idea. And this has been the last couple of years and why we've got to where we are. So let us quickly unpack now the course so you can actually get a sense of where we're going with this, because I want to invite you into this program. I want to invite you to basically get excited about joining me for a phenomenal adventure, because everything I've had, you can have too. And I'm just gonna take this into, I'm really, really good with slideshows, as you can see. So I promised that I was going to take people through this in a little bit more detail, because it's not something that I had time to do in the 3-day challenge. So as I said, I created this heart-led, soul-inspired leadership 3-day challenge. And if you want to have access to that, there are ways to do that. The essence of this course, Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless, is the 6 co-creation steps star map. Now this is my IP. This came to me directly. This is a 6-step process I take my one-to-one clients and my group coaching clients through. And it is basically something that will allow you as a structure to move through any challenge, moving from an old world to a new world. So let's just say we've got the 3D world of fear, we've got the 5D world of unification and love, and then the 4th dimension is the realm of the mind that allows us either to get stuck in the past or co-create the future. So this 6-step process is to build the bridge from the old world to the new one, and you use it again and again and again, no matter what it is that you're seeking to co-create, whether it's your big vision or whether this is actually your a personal goal that you have. There are 6 steps. The first one is invoke your higher self, put your soul in control. The second one is set your intention, and that's get really clear on what you want and why you want it. The third one is called conscious mind alignment. Now this is mindfulness. This is what so much of law of attraction and manifesting is based on, and it's 1 step in 6, right? It's on its own. It is powerful and it can be the deal breaker, right? In terms of whether you actually open the door or close it. But on its own, it's just scratching the surface. And this is what I was saying about having impact, is if you want to have really long lasting legacy impact, where when you're out of your skin suit and you've taken your last breath, what you have seeded in this world continues to seed and reseed because it's regenerative. This is why your soul is so important. And this is beyond religion. Now, I said to you before that people do incredibly well on my program if they have faith, if they have some form of faith, because they can believe in the intangible, right? They can believe in what they cannot see. So those who are stuck in their heads have a more challenging time, but that's okay, because that's the point of this course, is to move you out of your head into creating safety in your body so you can access your heart, and through that download your soul consciousness. Okay, so the point is, it's just learning to keep deferring to the heart rather than the mind, and that way you will have the breakthroughs that you need. And you know, step 3, as I said, is conscious mind alignment. So that's what's in your control. Think of the serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That's your subconscious. Step 4, the things I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So step 3 is what you can change. Step 4 is what is wired into you, your subconscious programming. And I know we have EFT and tapping, and I know we have all sorts of neuro reprogramming that's possible. But again, on its own, it ain't going to do enough for you. Here's why. If your outer world does not reflect the changes in your inner world, if you are not supporting your shifts, then you can change a neuro pathway, but it will revert because the outside world is basically reflecting back to you the old paradigm, not the new one. So there has to be a strength of integrity in your frequency to allow the inner world to shift, and also to make the necessary changes in your external environment to reflect the inner frequency that you seek to embody. That means changes in friendships. It means changes in terms of your home environment, what's around you. It means changes in the way you speak, what you focus on. There's all sorts that we unpack, but the combination of detoxing your subconscious programming, your early life conditioning, your bloodline karma drama, and then reprogramming it into what you would like. This is where the really powerful stuff happens, because you clear your cloud storage of the density that normally is the resistance holding you back. And as a result of that, you've got the wind beneath your wings rather than the lead beneath your wings in terms of moving forward. Now, step 5 is what I call blind spot discovery and fine tuning. And you can't go through to step 5 till you've done steps 1 to 4. And blind spot discovery and fine tuning is basically when you've put your soul in control, you've set your intention, got clear what you want and why you want it, because often that's where we end up getting confused. We want things that other people have told us we should want, or we think we should want because of X, Y, Z, but we don't really want. You've done what you can to align yourself, your life, with what you want, and then you've allowed the subconscious resistance to be cleared and reprogrammed. Then you're looking at, okay, what's showing up around me now? Am I getting back what I'm intending? Is what's coming towards me a vibrational match for what I want? No? Okay, I need to adjust my frequency a bit more. Okay, let's do that. We move beyond guilt, blame, shame. Okay, they're not going to help us. We get curious. And we allow ourselves to have an experience of playing a game between our inner and outer world. And this is what leads to step 6, which is self-mastery. Now, self-mastery is the energy of surrender, of trust, of commitment. It is the frequency that allows us to embody our new self, our higher self, the version of us that already has what we want. And this is the surrendering control to the soul. This is the thy will be done, knowing that thy will is the version of you that already has what you want. It's your God self that you are giving your power to. So it's you. You're not giving your power away to anyone else. And this balance between having desire and surrendering attachment to outcome is a huge part of this offering. So as I said, this is something that came to me. It wasn't in the previous version of the program, neither were the 6 pillars of divine human leaderships. This is another star map. Again, I'm not going to go into this now, but once we get to step 6 of the program, this is what we're working with. And although there are 6 pillars, I'll speak to them quickly: accountability, transparency, integrity, compassion, forgiveness, and discernment. There's obviously a load of subsections to each of those. And these are the pillars that we lead ourselves with, so that we are an example in this world. And whenever we're not sure what's going on outside of us, and we're not sure why we're getting the results that we are, we come back to these 6 pillars, and they'll help us to understand more about how to navigate from where we were to where we want to be. Okay, now what I wanted to do was to take you through the elements of the main curriculum, because this is what the 12 months are about. Now, for the most part, you're going to get through the curriculum content in the first 6 months, and then it's about working through steps 5 and 6, you know, with deep commitment and purpose and patience in the second 6 months, whilst you receive extra activations, downloads, initiations. I think I said to you at the start of this video that I'm a code keeper. I speak light language. None of this was true for me a few years ago. It certainly wasn't true when I first offered this program. And, you know, every new superpower that I've received has required a level of stabilizing. So when I first got told that I'm a galactic consciousness as the frequency of RozyGlow, I was like, okay, what is that? And it means that I hold the frequency of a galaxy. So those who come into my vortex are also holding the frequency of this galaxy. The RozyGlow galaxy is the frequency of divine grace. Grace is the power of revelation that allows us to let go easily of what no longer serves us, so that we can actually receive the blessings that were ours in the first place, right? So it's letting go of the limiters, the blockers that prevent us receiving the flow we desire. Grace is the aha moment where you suddenly see something you couldn't see before, and it changes everything. Okay, you stop making the same choice again and again because you suddenly get why you're making it. And words are spells, my friends. You know, learning to be meticulous with our energy is essential. And the codes that I was talking about at the moment, as I said, I'm a code keeper of 4 sets of codes. Those are the Paradise Earth codes, the StarPeace codes, the Christ-like miracle codes, and the Atlantean Master Teacher codes. And 3 sets of those codes only came through in the last 6 months. So big stuff happening, right? So let's unpack this program very quickly, and then I will go into other details. Now, again, in terms of you and your willingness to take this journey, what you're doing is you're basically getting a platform upgrade from being plugged into the fear paradigm. You might not think you are, okay? Maybe you meditate, maybe, you know, you do manifesting rituals, maybe you are a yoga teacher, a therapist, a metaphysical teacher. All of that can be true. I know there's lots of people claiming master teacher status at this point on this earth, and, you know, that if that's what you resonate with, that's what you resonate with. Doesn't mean there aren't blind spots, and only you know whether you've really done this deep foundation work. Most of us haven't. So what I would say to that is that, you know, in your mastery, remember, we're always students, right, as well as masters, and we all teach what we most need to learn. One thing I've learned about leaders and those who are in positions of influence, authority, and power is that there are very few places that we feel we can come and be truly vulnerable. We can let our guard down, we can be transparent, we can meet ourselves. And that's why in my offerings in this group program, there are group sessions, there's one-to-one sessions, there's digital content. And there is that personal touch that I feel is really missing from so many programs that are available to us. And I've done a lot of different programs, okay? Like, I have personally been a student of many programs. Some have been better than others, but in general, my experience has been that I've landed in a big group, and it's really difficult to get heard and seen unless you really speak up and, you know, make a bit of a fuss. And that's why I keep my groups small. And by that, I mean around 12. As a maximum number. If we get bigger than that, then we bring on more coaches, and we again split our groups into those who are in similar frequencies, so we can really meet you. And I feel it's really important to understand that part of the benefit of group programs is how you see yourself in others, so you progress really quickly. Also, the networking potential is phenomenal. You all lift each other up, you all support each other to thrive. It's off the scale. So here's step 1, set yourself up for success. So these are the actual 6 steps that I mentioned, but set yourself up for success as a module is basically all the fundamentals for you making sure you succeed in this program. It's getting that pre-foundation. It's almost like preconception, right? When I work with people over fertility issues, I always like to work with them a year before they get pregnant, a year before they even think about conceiving. And I don't talk about trying. There's a reason for that. So this is your kind of pre-foundational work to allow you to thrive in the course content and make the most of it and meet yourself when you experience fear and doubt. And yeah, in itself, it's a pretty complete module. All of these modules, we seek not to overwhelm you because everyone's busy in this day and age, but everything that we've included is on purpose. So you move through it at a pace that works for you. We don't overload the course with loads of weekly sessions, so that you've got a weekly touch point once a week. And you've also got support in between as you need it. You go through the course content in your own time. And we allow roughly 2 weeks per module, just to give you an idea, to have time to digest and practice. The second module is delightful daily practice essentials. Now, part of the success that I have in my work, and having brought hundreds of people through this program, is that I am a breath, sound and movement specialist. I am a senior yoga teacher who specializes in all the feminine forms of yoga. Much of what that means is undoing the patterns in the body, in the cellular memory, and then bringing in the alignment that allows us to access our zero balance, so we can access the 0 point field. Part of the commitment to this course is actually you have access to my online yoga twice a week, so the multidimensional yoga I offer, and the other teachers that come on board who've all been through this program, who teach multidimensional yoga in their own way. Now, you might not be into yoga, maybe you're into other forms of fitness, but just remember what I said about the nervous system and how important the shift from adrenaline to oxytocin is. So learning to make that shift and to stabilize an oxytocin is part of this journey. And these daily practices are what hook you up. They're bespoke, they're unique, they're my IP. And that means that I received directly the guidance to create these practices, including the star salutation, the Gaia Source Higher Self hookup, and then how we actually work with our I am presence, because that is your higher self. So there's a whole module there. There's morning and evening practices as well, so you can wind your mind down, make the most of your dream state. If you wake up in the middle of the night, how to utilize that energy rather than toss and turn and get frustrated. And in the morning, how to set yourself up for being in alignment with your frequency. So it's all there, everything that you want. Then we get into module 3, which is put your soul in control. And this is the first module that relates to the first step in my 6-step process. And again, this is all the tools required to activate your superconscious, so your higher self fully, and put your higher self in the driving seat of your life. So magic, miracles, and synchronicities, and now your new normal. Now, you've heard me say already that I'm a specialist pregnancy, fertility, baby yoga, etc. teacher. And here's the thing, I do have a separate course called Conceive with Ease, which was specifically around supporting women and men to conceive. However, what I found is by clearing the blocks through this Fearless program, I find those who want to get pregnant anyway. Instead of focusing on the pregnancy, they focus on themselves, they clear the blocks, and then those limitations and fears move out the way, and it becomes so much easier because they're plugged into joy, plugged into oxytocin, everything you need. So then we move on to step 4, which is, or module 4, intention and desire mapping. Now, the key to co-creating your reality consciously is clear intention. The multidimensional gold mine gifted here upgrades your desires so they are soul-led, creating optimal mind, body, spirit alignment, and the path to your dreams come true is paved. So when I say, what do you want? Why do you want it? We have these things called duty desires and soul desires. So getting really clear on what you want and why you want it is really important before you go further, just like putting your soul in control so you're not being led by your conditioning is a prerequisite to getting clear on your intention, right? So everything makes sense. We then get to conscious mind alignment. This is the 5th module. Now, we know that the subconscious is 90 to 95% more powerful than the conscious mind. That means that in every hour, you have power over your reality for 3 to 6 minutes, okay? Unless you clear, so that means detox and reprogram your subconscious to be congruent with your conscious mind, your higher self intention. And higher self and conscious mind are not quite the same. Your soul knows what you want. The human part of you may well argue. And our consciousness, as in the part of us that sees the world and processes information, may well be choosing to see through a lens that isn't in alignment with your higher self intentions. So getting clear on conscious mind alignment, what is in your control, what you can do is essential. And this whole module actually goes in tandem with the module that is module 6, which I'll show you now. And that is subconscious clearing. So let's just go back. Though the subconscious is 95% more powerful than the conscious mind, not having your conscious mind aligned with your soul desires guarantees you won't get the results you want. Ignore this module at your peril. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper, right? And it works, as I said, in tandem with the subconscious clearing. Now, I haven't gone into the details of what we do here, but as a global society, global culture, a global family, if you like, we all have 6 key areas that require detoxing and reprogramming. Those are the masculine element, the feminine element, the fear element, the pain element, so physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual pain. Then we've got guilt, blame, shame, and judgment. And then we have lack consciousness. So those 6 areas are all covered in this part of the module, which works in tandem with the conscious mind module. This is a big piece, okay? So if we are clearing the sacral chakra or womb toxicity, that's an element of the feminine. If we're reprogramming the patriarchal conditioning that we've had, that's in the masculine element. Our relationships with others can only really reflect our inner wounding. So most of us had unmet needs as children. Our relationship to our parents, so how we see those who brought us up, is how we see the divine. Mother, Father, Divine. So if we had certain needs unmet, then we're going to have a mistrust of divine source. Like if we buy into the patriarchal paradigm of God, then God is judgmental, wrathful. God will decide whether you go to heaven or earth, whether you need to be heaven or hell, whether you need to be punished. You have to give your power away. You have to not question. It's kind of like the world we're living in, right? That is not the divine, not the divine that I know, okay? Not source, all that is. So although this is one module, it takes several weeks, probably about 3 months if you do it fully, to go through, right? And we do it really deeply because the combination of breath, sound, movement practices that I teach in my physical modalities, that combined with the energetic work, which is the detoxing, that leads us to reality crafting, which is shaping our present through our future, right? So you go into your future self, into the you that you wish to embody in this reality. You reverse engineer and you craft your reality by receiving frequencies from the you that is further along the timeline that you want to be on, which is your highest path, right? Your divine design timeline. It's really amazing. Let's just take a breath. So you've got here futurescaping, which is reality crafting, which is reverse engineering. You've got clearing subconscious programming and reprogramming it. You've got aligning your consciousness with what you truly want and unplugging from the world around you that is giving you a different frequency to tap into. You've got clearing your cellular, molecular, atomic and subatomic memory through breath, sound, movement practices so that you are fully in alignment to embody your higher self. This is where we've got to so far, right? So detoxing and upgrading all the social, cultural, religious and familial conditioning so that we're free of the karma drama of our bloodline ancestors and the fear matrix world and can finally tune into our soul mission and mastery. This has to happen, right? Otherwise, the lens we're seeing through, we want to eradicate racism, we want to eradicate sexism, we want to eradicate poverty. You can't do it from your wounding. You've got to be in a resolved place where you're in connection to flow. Otherwise, the impact is a scratching the surface rather than getting to the root type of impact. That means it will not be sustainable and regenerative. It means the legacy will not pass from one generation to the next. And we want to be thinking ahead, right? We want to know that those who do continue their bloodlines are going to be taking forward the paradise earth reality, the new earth paradigm, not the old one. So we're doing this for the collective. Blind spot discovery and fine tuning. As I said, keep your conscious and subconscious mind aligned with your superconscious so you can get harvest after harvest of your desires manifesting. Now the weeds that have gone from your sacred seeds and your sacred seeds are growing. Spot your own self-sabotage and master course correcting like a badass. Now, many of you will have heard of going through the void, right? Going through the void is a time when it's like you've gone into your garden, you've pulled out all the weeds, all of the plants you don't want to keep seeding, you've planted your new seeds, but as yet you have a fallow field, nothing has sprouted yet. And it's holding that frequency of trust in what you cannot see yet, but is actually manifesting. Now, even if I don't see you on the program, taking these steps, considering them in your reality will have an impact, right? A huge impact, because everything before what I've just said leads to self-mastery. And self-mastery is you manifesting your desires into your reality. So the star maps that we take you through are coded with the conscious co-creator's secrets for stabilization, maintenance, and expansion. Your life is your legacy, and enjoying your life by example and enjoying inspiring those you are here to activate. So your best way of affecting change in the world is through your example. Typically, for many of us, we don't like the idea of being judged or envied. So there's a double-edged sword here. When you step out of full poppy syndrome, when you step out of the fear of being bigger than your boots, what other people will think of you, and you dare to step forward and align with what you truly want, right? A dreamer in a small town mentality, for example. People are going to look at you and go, oh, who is she? I mean, when I first evolved from yoga teacher to coach, you know, like suddenly I'm charging a lot more for my services. I'm inviting people to trust themselves. They trusted me this far, trust me again. Let's go to this next level. And, you know, I then got what I wanted and people were looking at me going, oh, I want her relationship. Oh, I want her money. Oh, I want her looks. Oh, I want this. And it's like, you can have this too. This did not just happen by accident. This did not just happen because I woke up one day and suddenly everything was different. I committed to a path that I decided to stay committed to until I got the results that I wanted. And then I taught that path. I maintained it. I kept feeding it. And that's what we're talking about. So we have to move beyond the fear of judgment of others. We have to move beyond the fear of being envied. We have to allow ourselves to be our best selves. And as a result of that, encourage others to come out of their comfort zone and actually to step forward, to step up, and to dare to dream their dreams into reality. The final thing that I've put here is the nervous system reprogramming co-creation meditations. Now, these are yours for life. And what they are co-creations that I have created with the different groups that have been with me. There are lots and lots in the library that we have, lots of different titles. And, you know, what they do is they are part of your reality crafting, you're shifting your reality, you're acting as if you're imagining new frequencies. So they're alchemical processes, co-creation meditations. You hold a vision of what you want, you call it in, then you clear resistance to it, then you embed that new frequency into your energy field, and they play a huge part in what we do. Now, there are bonuses that change over time, okay, but presently, the bonuses that are on offer are the Rainbow Flame initiations, activation, and integration meditations. Now, these are for the year-long program. Essentially, they came again through to me directly. So this is my intellectual property. This is part of the channeling that I received. They don't belong to anyone else. I haven't learned them from another teacher, just like the star maps, just like the star salutation. So this is part of me being plugged in and gifting you the upgrade that is the shift from 2-strand to 12-strand DNA. So this is us moving from carbon-based to crystalline energy structure, and absolutely amazing for any health conditions. You know, people will say to me, well, why would I come in? Like, okay, I'm a leader, I want to help others, okay, la la la, but personally, what do you want? Better health, better relationships to money, you want to clear the blocks to having a sacred union, to having a baby. This is all here. That's what these meditations are about. And also there's a series of masterclasses that felt essential to offer as part of the bonus content for signing up to this course, which are the I Am a Love Magnet Masterclass, the Money Making Magic Masterclass, and the Recession Proof Your Energy Masterclass. So each of these are about you having more of what you want, even if you're in a good place with someone. What about something? What about getting into an even better place, right? Imagine that, an even better place. That's where we all get to go, because when you learn these tools within the supportive environment that you will learn them in, you then go out and you test them in the world. And I'm going to give you some examples of some of my clients. You see what I mean? But it's like the impact you can have is amazing, right? And, you know, at this present time, the pay in full bonuses, for those of you who commit to the journey, I want to excite you about the fact that, you know, people say, well, how much does this cost? Presently, it's akin to what doing a master's at uni would cost. And, you know, the price is always changing, which is why I don't talk about it here. It goes up and then we do specials. And, you know, for those of you who have the resource ready and are able to commit, you get a significant discount by signing up. Well, it's actually a bonus. It's not even a discount. What we're doing is we're saying, come along, join now, step forward, really trust yourself, have faith in yourself, commit to yourself, bet on yourself, because your heart will say yes, but there's often doubt in the mind. That's really quite normal, okay? But it's that, come on, step forward and here, get this extra bonus. So you'll get a special scholarship price for going, yes, I'm in, and acting quickly and getting started. And you'll also receive a light language transmission and galactic healing with me. Now, I said to you, there's 4 sets of codes. So at this particular time, it's the StarPeace codes that want to come through to everybody. So that's what I'm going to be offering you. And that just allows you to very quickly embed the frequencies of harmony and sacred union in you, so you can progress much faster, have a quick sweep of stuff that's an issue in your life presently. And then also you receive as a fast action bonus, so those of you who pay in full, the Divine Prosperity and Regenerative Wealth modules, because the more we have, you know, I'm taken by the fact that the most powerful people in this world are people with a lot of money and a good intention. And I know for many, there's an unhealthy relationship with money and resource, because people have conditioning that will say that money is the root of all evil, money corrupts. You know, if we didn't have money, we'd be in a much better place. I don't agree with that. And whether it's money, diamonds, potatoes, it doesn't matter what the trading economy is. It's important that we have a healthy relationship with wealth, with resource, with flow, that we know we're always provided for. And that's what these modules are about. So that's the current offer. That's what is there for you if you decide that you would like to find out more about joining me and saying yes. And, you know, what I would say to you is, in terms of the way that the course is actually delivered, I'm the main coach. I have another wonderful coach called Kate, who is amazing. She lives in her personal paradise in France. We've known each other a very long time. Once upon a time, we created these DVDs called Rozy and Kate, Pre and Postnatal Yoga. That was back in 2010. We've journeyed together for a very long time. She came and did my course because she saw the shifts in me. And she is so good at working the tools that that's why she came into the coaching, because she's really, really good at just bringing it back to basics. And that's where we all need to go. The higher we go in our mastery, the more simple we need to make things. Okay. So what I'll say is, at the time that I'm making this video, we have this particular offer until the 4th of June. So this is your chance, my dears, to actually step forward and book a call. And I'll put the link for you to book a desire mapping call with me to find out about this year-long adventure, and actually to receive the scholarship pricing if you decide that you would like to go ahead. And what I would also say about the way the course is actually delivered is that we have other coaches that are on board. Everyone who has trained as a coach with RozyGlow has actually been through this course. Okay, they've all been through this process and embedded it. That's the way I know that they can teach this multidimensional perspective. And all of you who do decide to join me, because you're going to be able to use the tools yourselves in any modality, you're going to end up with a certification that allows you to claim that you're a multidimensional StarPeace graduate. Okay, and you are proficient in these tools. So there's a lot there, right? There's a lot to unpack here, and there's plenty more I can share with you, but I just want to bring it back a little bit to allowing yourself to know that if you feel like you'd like to be deeply held through a process, it will allow you to undo what is holding you back and create the scaffolding around you for the new paradigm that you are here to embody, to amplify, and to actualize in this world. That is exactly what this is about. So as I said, it's a safe space for leaders to drop the armor and be fully witnessed. Anyone who has a following of any type is a leader. Remember that. You could be a teacher, a therapist, you could be a way shower, an influencer. You might be high profile, in which case you want to work with me more likely one-to-one. Maybe you're a CEO who's ready to be heart-centered and soul-led. You could be a manager, you could be on all sorts of levels, right, where you are here leading the way. And I want you to know there is a safe space for you. My background is in being a doula, which is supporting women to give birth. So being with them, trusting the process, helping them get over their self-doubt and their fear when they're going through it. And that's exactly what we do when we are birthing your soul into your body. It's an adrenaline to oxytocin upgrade. There's a 6-step process you learn and then master, so you can co-create your dreams into reality, and you learn to evolve beyond the limitations resulting from inherited or self-experienced trauma. That means your ancestors are freed and your descendants are freed from the karma and the drama that you've seen play out again and again. And very often you will be living out a story that isn't yours. And until you bring it to light and you choose to disassociate from it and claim your truth, then you will keep living out what is a form of Groundhog Day, literally repelling what you do want and attracting what you don't want, because your conditioning has got you wired that way. You're also going to co-create a resolved inner family that can meet the unmet needs that cause us to create from our wounded rather than higher self. So I'm really, really passionate about those who are creating anything in this world, coming from that resolved higher self, because the impact we have is, without realizing it, we can end up doing our own therapy by creating what we create, which meets people in their pain, but doesn't necessarily take them to a resolved or healed state. Imagine being able to meet people in their pain and take them to the healing. Imagine writing the song that goes, I've been heartbroken, I moved through it, this is where I've got to now. You know, the movie that deals with the kind of challenges you had as a child, but then teaches the way through and the resolution, right? What if we were seeing the resolution of a divine human, what it means to live in such a way that we are, you know, communicating, co-creating, procreating, showing up in the world that is going to be beneficial for all, dealing with conflict, dealing with heartache, dealing with pain on all levels, right? Yes, very exciting. Now, in terms of the working with me opportunities, the one-to-one coaching is all expressed on rosannahannis.com. There are VIP days, 4-month intensives. They can stretch to 6-month, year-long journeys. I work with people for 3 to 5 years. You know, I work with people for life. I'm a trusted spiritual advisor. So if you feel like you want that kind of support longer term to birth a project, or to go through your own transformation, then that's there for you. The Fearless, Loved Up and Limitless journey, as I've just expressed it, is the foundational journey for starseed leaders, influencers and way showers. And we offer it as a 1-year program, which is a small group, including one-to-one sessions and digital content and some other modalities that we bring in. So all you need to do is book a call to find out more. And I will put a link to StarPeace, because you're here in this Manifesting StarPeace Utopia Facebook group if you're watching this live. Otherwise, you'll find this on the landing page of the course. Maybe I've sent it to you by email, maybe it's on socials, but essentially my vision is StarPeace, and all of the movement is explained on Manifesting StarPeace Utopia. It's on starpeaceconsciousness.com, including the manifesto and all the ways you can take part in the free movement. And we all just add our names to the manifesto and bring 800 million people together. Now, this was the statement that absolutely started my journey in the realm of making the impossible possible. And that is, as we change our view of the world around us changes. I truly know that. It has been my experience. The version of me I was before is so different. And just to end with a couple of client stories, because I think this is so important. I was talking to one of my graduates, Cherie, who was very happy for me to share what she's been up to. Now, Cherie has taken the tools that I've talked to you about today, and she's implemented them in the criminal justice system. She's worked with prisons, right, with people in prison, like really, really full-on scenarios of people in prison. She's taken it to CAMS, which is the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services in the UK. She's worked with fostering agencies and implemented some of the tools that I shared with her through this program. She's also influenced changes in the Church of England, okay, through her embodiment of her feminine power. And Cherie Joy is her name. I'll put a link to her. She's currently in the process of writing a book called Medicine Woman. She made the shift in the time that she was working with me from traditional psychotherapy to eco-psychotherapy. And now she's doing really deep work. She's working with certain agencies around stillborn miscarriages. She said black periods, I think she said, or dark periods, and basically our womb issues. Okay, so a lot of those who come to me, they're going to either be going into the business world or the entertainment world and actually affecting change from the inside, addressing issues of inequality, racism, sexism, non-inclusiveness, but from a place where they're kind of heart-centered rather than wounded, and therefore aware of this ancestral impact. And I have had, there are less men that come through my program than women, and obviously this is open to all genders or non-genders, but you know, the fact that we're dealing with sacred feminine, sacred masculine issues might be triggering for those who don't want to identify with that. So, you know, I'm happy to have a chat with you about it, but ultimately the way the course is delivered is to recognize that there's Mother Divine, there's Father Divine, And when we adjust our relationship to the divine, wonderful things happen, because we are the divine. And, you know, with Cherie's example, like just seeing the impact that she's had on those she's worked with, she's spent years working with suicidal people who, you know, needed the boundaries that she has been putting in place, and the self-care that she adopted allowed her to move from a relationship that was toxic, that was not giving her what she wanted. She had 2 children with a man who basically left her at Christmas, the father of her children, and now she's living her dream life by the sea with her beautiful sacred union partner. And, you know, this is part of her stepping into her bigness. And she's been very close to me through the years. Like, honestly, can you imagine impacting the Church of England, child and adolescent mental health services in this country, fostering agencies, the prison service, the criminal justice system? I mean, this is powerful stuff, right? And then I also have a lady who comes from the Ivory Coast. When she came to me, Anne Yassé, she was wanting to have a sacred union, but was in an unhappy space with relationships. And this is often the case, working herself ragged. She ended up with her visa running out and needed all sorts of miracles. And in the end, she was paid by her company to basically be off work, but they wanted to keep her and sort out a visa for her. She then also, as she cleared her programming, attracted a different level of relationship with someone she'd been with in the past. She's over the moon now. They both did the deep inner work that have allowed them to be together. And she set up something called Be Me, Be Free, which is to support women from the Ivory Coast to want more, to trust that they deserve more, even if their families want to basically, how do I put it? From what I've understood in terms of the conditioning of the culture and the religion, women in the Ivory Coast are basically just meant to marry and not have careers, not have brains, not, you know, be successful in any way, shape or form. Marriage and kids, that's it. So she's been supporting women to want more and to deal with the fallout from their families when, you know, very often they're ostracized, they're cut off, they're just, yeah, set out of being included. And I have another wonderful lady, Jara, who has set up another charity, and I just need to speak to that. And I'm actually going to just read out what she said, because, you know, when you look at these beautiful souls and what they're doing, it really lets you know. She has a charity called cholera.org, and this is based in Uganda. So she said she's recently left a salaried job working in her the local council, coordinating a service for children in care. This is the impact we have, right? Creating my personal paradise is a concept I was introduced to at one of Rozy's retreats. This planted a seed for me to check in with my heart and soul desire and explore what my personal paradise looks and feels like. I took time to reflect on my own needs and dreams and how I wanted to share my gifts with the world. Within 6 months, I handed in my notice to my salary job. I have expanded my therapeutic and coaching business. I registered my charity last year, and now I have the time to work on the projects I've been dreaming about. Her and her husband have got a studio as well, a recording studio, by the way. My charity is cholera.org and gifts children a chance to dream in Uganda. My main projects and dreams for the children is to build beautiful libraries for them to play, learn and dream in. I have a lot of love and gratitude for my Ugandan heritage and very grateful that I can gift back to the community. I now have more capacity to shape my time to suit my needs. I'm laying a new foundation of being. The inspiration has come from my deep intuition of how I want to serve in this world. I've been a part of the RozyGlow family for years, and I'm continually gifted with new insights, shifts and perspectives. So Jara has been through the Fearless program. She's been a graduate of the program and been committed to my membership and the other work that I do. And this is the thing, is that the far-reaching impact of us doing this deep work. She came to me with some deep wounding. She had a child that wasn't going to live very long. That little girl had passed by the time she came and did the Fearless program. And so she wanted to do the deep clearing to allow herself to mourn, make peace, and also bring in another life. And she did that. She's got a little daughter now, and you know, is prepping for a bigger family. And this is the beautiful thing, is that, you know, when we clear our personal stuff, and it's about lack, it's about self-deserving, it's about worthiness, it's about allowing ourselves to have more and not apologize for the more that we want. Amazing things happen. When you feel well resourced, you can give so much more to the world, because you're giving from an overflowing cup. All right, not a cup that is half empty or half full. It's refillable, it's overflowing. you tap into that flow and amazing things happen. So I could go on and on. I mean, there are lots of other people. I've got people who are illustrators and authors who are writing children's books and influencing the minds of children with these beautiful gifts, and the child in each of us as well. I've got the wonderful Claire, who's a soul CEO. She's totally changing the face of recruitment and branding in the UK. She's worked with international brands all around the world. Phenomenal woman, jet setting everywhere. The lovely Carla is the creator of the Love Up candles, and she's also come from a background where basically she had toxic love wounds to clear, okay, in terms of partnership and also parental stuff, and she's been on a deep healing journey with that. Real adopter of self-love. I've got the lovely Jid, who's been a part of the mental health services in the UK, working for the NHS, and again supporting a shift in culture with regard to inclusiveness, inequality and racism. And there's just so many I could mention, and yeah, I think I've mentioned a fair few of them, so I'm going to probably leave that there. But there's musicians as well, there's women in business who are taking these principles into male-dominated environments and getting the masculines connected to their heart. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, this is why I'm so passionate about making this available to everybody. And all you need to do, if you are loving the sound of this, is to book your desire mapping call. We'll have a chat, see if we're a match, we'll see what's available to you. There are other courses on offer as well for those of you who are not quite ready for this journey. And there is, of course, the multidimensional yoga that you can tap into. You can join the RozyGlow community by signing up to the website if you check the homepage. And for now, I'm just going to love you and leave you and say, make the most of the offer that's available now, because all that happens is prices go up. And I'd love for you to jump on board now. I'm particularly calling in the soul CEOs, the dreamers and the visionaries of this new earth. Those of you who are ready to take this deep dive, you're fed up of going around in circles. You want to have the change that you can quantify as significant because you've seen yourself move from the longing to the having. And that's exactly what this course will do for you. It can give you all the tools to get you from the longing to the having, to be a vibrational match, to actually experience fulfillment. So if anyone has any comments, any questions, just drop me an email. I would say book a call and let's have a chat and we'll go from there. And for those who are in the group, I'll check the comments and respond to them. For now, lots and lots and lots of love to you. And thank you so much for joining me for this. Take care for now.